This is an additional topic that I wanted to cover in second lecture. Interatomic bonding. You must have studied atomic bonds in 11th or 12th standard. So this video is just going to be a review of atomic bonds. Atomic bonds are categorized as primary bonds and secondary bonds. The strength of primary bonds is higher than secondary bonds. There are three types of primary bonding: ionic bonding, covalent bonding, and metallic bonding. And van der Waals bonding comes under the category of secondary bonds, as van der Waals bonds are weak in strength. The first type of primary bond is ionic bond. It is found when the metals and non-metals are combined. They involve elements from both the extremities of the periodic table. For example, silicon and oxygen, SiO2, silica, the silicon oxide, aluminum oxide, aluminum and oxygen. This type of bonding is predominant in ceramics. We have seen four different classes of materials: metals, polymers, ceramics and composites. Out of the four classes, ionic bonding is predominantly found in ceramics. In this type of bond, metallic elements give up their valence electrons to non-metallic elements, and all atoms acquire stable electron configuration and a net charge, and that's why the electrons are not available to conduct heat or electricity. Hence, the materials having ionic bonds are poor conductors of heat and electricity. For example, ceramics. Ceramics are typically used in high temperature applications. Typically, in the kitchen, the teacups are made of ceramics. Okay. So this is one of the applications that you must have experienced. The bond is non-directional, or there is no criteria for the direction of the bond. An example is NaCl, sodium chloride. Next type of primary bond is covalent bond, and you should be aware that in covalent bonds the electrons are shared among the adjacent atoms. So CH4 is an example of covalent bonding. They are directional. So this is an example, and this angle that specifies the direction has to be satisfied. Okay, so this is the criteria for direction, which is angle for CH4. So if the carbon is combined with hydrogen to form CH4, then the hydrogen atoms must be oriented at those angles with respect to the other hydrogen atoms or carbon atom. Covalent bonding can be very strong. For example, in diamond is the hardest metal whose melting point is 3500 degrees centigrade. On the contrary, they can also be very weak. Example, bismuth, whose melting point is 270 degrees centigrade. Then next type or third type of primary bonding is metallic bonding. And in case of metallic bonding, there is a sea of electrons or electron cloud that forms between the metal ions. Okay, so these are basically the ion cores, positive ion cores, and surrounding these ion cores is a sea of electrons or electron clouds, which is represented by this blue shaded region. And this sea is a sea of valence electrons. That means those electrons are freely available to conduct heat and electricity. This type of bonding is prevalent in metals, and that's why metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. So these free electrons act as a shield against mutual repulsion. because we know that like charges repel each other, and as there are free electrons, they shield the mutual repulsion of adjacent positive cores, positive ions. Free electrons act as adhesive, so they hold the positive ion cores together. And then finally, van der Waals bonding, which is weak in strength. And van der Waals bonding exists in all atoms and molecules, and it arises from atomic or molecular dipole. And a dipole is a separation of positive and negative portions of an atom or molecule. Okay. So this is the figure depicting a dipole where the positive and negative portions are separated in an atom or molecule. So that's how the van der Waals bonding is formed. Typically, as we are going to discuss only metals in our course, those are the crystal structures that are found in metals. So here onwards we will discuss only three crystal structures: body-centered cubic, face-centered cubic, and hexagonal fluorospine. Anyway, this has nothing to do with the discussion of interatomic bonding. I wanted to tell you about interatomic bonding because as as we have seen earlier, that the property of a material depends upon its structure, and if the structure is basically the internal arrangement or arrangement of internal components, which are atoms in the case of materials, and those atoms are held together by bonds. So the type of bonding among the atoms of a material decides its property or affects its property. Okay, so for example, a metallic bond. A metallic bond is prevalent or predominantly found in metals, and as we have seen in metallic bond, the electrons are free or they are available to conduct heat and electricity, and this is the reason that the metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. So this is an example of how properties of a material are dependent on their structures. See you in the next video.